I think we have to reimagine what it means to be a rabbi, what it means to be a Jewish educator, what it means to be a Jewish professional.
You saw really in-your-face anti-Jew hate. What does that do to a young person?
I was buried alive, almost died, fighting anti-Semitism. It makes us losers. We've been fighting anti-Semitism since we've been in existence.
Welcome back to Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. 30-minute mentions, same vibe, same tribe, shorter episodes. My guest today is a Boston boy and lifelong steward of the Jewish community. He's run major Jewish organizations like Jewish Federation LA and the Jewish Television Network. He makes a mean, bespoke cocktail, and he's a dear friend of mine. Please join me in welcoming Jay Sanderson.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you.
It's great to have you, even though you only slightly guilt-tripped me into it. But I was going to have you anyways.
If a Jew can't make another Jew feel guilty, then we really are in trouble.
Yeah, what are we doing here? All right, so generally with these 30-minute mentions, Jay, I've been jumping into the work that the individual is doing, and we're certainly going to jump into what you're doing now as the new president of American Jewish University. But I feel like your upbringing is really important to understanding your story, so I do want to jump back to the beginning. You grew up outside Boston in the 50s, and you saw, really in-your-face, intense anti-Jew hate, physical violence. What does that do to a young person?
It changes you. I mean, the word trauma is bandied about a lot, but, my dad died when I was not 5. I had a severely mentally disabled twin brother who unfortunately passed away from COVID. And I grew up in the projects outside of Boston. I was the only Jewish kid in a half Irish Catholic, half French Canadian projects. I mean, just really tough neighborhood. And so I was buried alive, almost died right after my bar mitzvah.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
They were building a university in the backyard of the projects. There was a big ditch. After school, 2 older kids followed me home. They threw me in the ditch. They buried me alive. There was about a foot of air. That was right at like 3, 4 in the afternoon. I was there till someone heard me screaming about 2 in the morning.
Jesus.
It traumatized me so much, though, that it's one of those memories that I hid internally, not consciously, until one day, a dozen years ago, I was in an airplane bathroom. The door got stuck. I got claustrophobic. I had an anxiety attack, went back into therapy, found the memory, found the person who saved me. But I know when it happened, it just shattered me. And the community, the good thing about the Jewish community when it really works, they knew that they had to, quote unquote, save me. I say I went from trauma to the joy of Judaism because the intervention was, let's get Jay to Israel for the summer. So I was 14 years old. The Jewish Agency did a trip at that time for the whole summer. They let me go in a year and a half younger than everybody else. And fast forward towards the end of the trip, 4 kids, and these are kids from all over the Jewish world, were chosen to have breakfast with David Ben-Gurion at his kibbutz.
Whoa.
And I was chosen. And 3 older kids were nonplussed about it. I was kind of blown away. I lingered. David Ben-Gurion grabbed my shoulder, turned me around to him. We were the same eye line, and said to me, Jay, make me a promise. You'll always take care of my country, and our people. And that's what's carried me from the trauma to all the work I've done in the Jewish world.
That's unbelievable. What a journey, and what a special moment. I had no idea about that story. That's incredible.
Yeah.
As I said, important to know your background to understand why you've then spent a lifetime stewarding the Jewish community. So let's jump to today. So you retire. After running multiple organizations, you're like, okay, I'm ready to take a little rest. I'm going to do some traveling. I'm going to do some cooking pop-ups. I'm going to make some cocktails. They're delicious, by the way. And then, I don't know, 9 months ago or something, I get a message from you. Hey, I've got this idea, and I'm getting pulled back in because there's a moment happening. That idea that you reach out to me to talk about is something called the 2050 Institute. So first, tell me what the 2050 Institute's all about.
first of all, I think that right now, Jonah, I understand why, but the Jewish world is fixated on today, right? We're kind
Hmm.
of playing whack-a-mole. We are
Yes.
not capable of looking, never mind a year from now, 5 years, 25 years from now. We're not capable of looking past today and tomorrow. And I get how we got here, but I don't think that we can stay in this place because what are we saving the Jewish community for, right? Your children's children. What is it going to look like for them? And for the longest time, I've lived with these two kinds of ideas in my head. First of all, I believe that more often than not, we have the wrong people sitting at the wrong tables having the wrong conversations. The example I give is in 1993, I was sitting at the very first table to talk about the high cost of living Jewishly. I've sat at 200
Yeah.
of those tables, right? And today, the cost of living Jewishly is exponentially higher than it was in 1993. Those people sitting at the table were unable to solve the problem. I also say that if in the year 2000, we had created the 2025 Institute, we would have had high tech people, all kinds of people that would have seen TikTok and social media coming. So we wouldn't have been caught in this anti Semitic fight on in spaces that we have had no familiarity with. So I had this idea of let's get the best people from every discipline: science, medicine, education, Hollywood, technology, the best and brightest who never sit at Jewish tables to sit together and think about the other piece of this, which is the Jewish community has never, ever in its history had a long range planning initiative thinking about the next generation of Jewish life. We do institutional initiatives, very institutionally driven, but they tend to be, 3 to 5 year kind of deals. I wanted to think about the next generation, which is 25 years. So I had this idea. I started talking to people. I started talking to funders. It got momentum. I wanted to have a sense of place. American Jewish University has the Brandeis Bardin Institute, still the single largest Jewish real estate outside the state of Israel. It just is a spiritual home for me and for so many other people.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I'm going to pick up the baton of the story. So you reach out to me. You're telling me about this initiative. A couple months later, I'm out there raising money for it. And then it's, I'm set up at AJU. I'm presenting to the board. Then I'm helping the board as an advisor on some stuff. And then I'm president of AJU. So what the hell, man? Like, what happened?
First of all, I did retire. I wasn't unhappy. October 7th happened. I saw the stress and strain in all my friends who were Jewish leaders. I felt a little bad that I was on the sidelines. They were making me feel bad as well. I'm the least likely, Jonah, university president in the history of university presidents. I'm even the least educated in my own family. I would never have imagined in a million years at any time in my career that I would be the president of American Jewish University. But when they came to me to ask me if I would do this, I thought about it and I said no right away. I just didn't want, this is running Jewish organizations, especially today, is a grind, right?
Yeah.
Retail fundraising, you have to be everywhere, you have to do all these things. But in the back of my head, it was still this gnawing thing that if we don't think about the Jewish future, we're going to get a future that we didn't plan. And I think all the rules have changed. What the next generations after you, how they define engagement, community, identity is dramatically different than you do and than I do. And we have not accommodated the changes. And we haven't looked forward enough. So I said no the first time. I said no the second time. And then my friends in the Jewish world that I went back to said, you can't say no. You got to do this, because if you could turn AJU around, it would be major for the Jewish world. And I went back to the board chair and I said, I have conditions. My friend who Eric Fingerhut, who runs Jewish Federations of North America, said to me not long ago, you have to embrace your reputation. I have a reputation as a disruptor, that I cause problems for people, that I am the guy in the room who says what no one else is willing to say, that I am a change agent. And I said to the board chair, the incoming board chair, if you want me to come in, not tweak around the edges, but reimagine the entire university and do it in the way that I think we need to do it, which is to be singularly focused on only one thing, and that's the Jewish future. If you want me and you want that, then I'm willing to give it this last chapter of my Jewish professional life.
Amazing. So in terms of what the AJU is home to now, one of the main things is the Moss Center for Jewish Journeys, and within that is the Miller Intro to Judaism program, which I have mentioned on the show before. I've been an advisory board member, I think, for 5 years now, advising the awesome Rabbi Tarlin Rabizadeh, who tried to get on 30-minute Mensches, but she's traveling the world. She's too important. We'll get her somewhere in the future. I love how they put this on their site. It's if you're Jewish, Jew-ish, or Jew curious, it's a great program for you. And you do it all online. They have, cohorts all over the world. Amazing thing. So I'm assuming, that's still a bedrock of what you're thinking about going forward.
There's two directions. One is we have a superpower. We're an accredited university. I'll leave that for the second piece. The piece here is we started the first Introduction to Judaism class. There are more Jews who became more Jewish and non-Jews who became Jewish through American Jewish University's Miller Introduction to Judaism class than any program of its kind in the world, and even more today. We're going to build it out. One of the ways that we're going to address the fight against anti-Semitism, and I tell people all the time, I hate to say fighting anti-Semitism because it makes us losers. We've been fighting anti-Semitism since we've been in existence. Addressing anti-Semitism is for us to connect to all these people who are Jewish curious. So we have a website that we're going to build out called The Origin Story. The Origin Story allows individuals to explore, maybe they have a Jewish relative, maybe they just have a Jewish interest. So we're going to create a couple first steps to get to the introduction to Judaism. The second thing is we're going to launch a 4-week class. After you found out that you might want to be Jewish or you might be Jewish, you're not going to take an 18-week class, which is what the Introduction to Judaism is. So we're going to do a 4-week class that we're calling right now Introduction for the Curious, right? Then the Introduction to Judaism, and then as we talked about the last time I saw you, kind of a post-Introduction to Judaism class. Once you've gone through it and maybe converted, or at least are raising Jewish children, you still want a little bit more content. You want to be more comfortable being Jewish. We're going to create a whole line from beginning to end of curious to deeply engaged, all through the Moss Center for Jewish Journeys.
Jay, I think that's awesome. I think, all the years I've been on the board, it's always been so mind-bogglingly under-resourced, this program, and sort of, surviving by its own ingenuity by the amazing people running it. And I'm so glad to hear that, it's going to get the recognition and support it deserves because it's so effective and so amazing for so many people.
Look, we're talking about two things. We're talking about being the central place that's going to change Jewish life by engaging, inspiring, and training the next generation of Jewish rabbis, educators, and Jewish professionals on the university side, and by building this dynamic pipeline. We're not going to stop at the next class after Introduction to Judaism. We're going to drive people to what I think is one of the greatest Jewish summer camps, no offense to our beloved Camp Ramah in the Jewish world, which is Camp Alonim. We're going to then get those Camp Alonimers to be leaders and staff members, and then drive them to BCI, which was and is still one of the great young leadership programs in the Jewish world. And then hopefully some of those people want to work in the Jewish world and then funnel them into our university.
You mentioned training the rabbis.
Yeah.
So there's the Ziegler Rabbinical School is part of AJU.
Yeah.
What's the game plan there?
I think we have to reimagine what it means to be a rabbi, what it means to be a Jewish educator, what it means to be a Jewish professional. So we are really rethinking rabbinic education. It is a denominational-based program in the conservative movement. I myself want to see AJU become bigger in the community and not denominationally driven. So we're doing a real serious dive into what should the future of rabbinic education be and what should our rabbinic education be. We're looking at every single thing we do. It has to be excellent. It has to make great impact, right? And it has to be innovative. And that's the lens of which I've done everything in my career. And that's the lens I'm looking at the Ziegler School for Rabbinic Studies.
That's fantastic to hear. I did this thing called the Somet game in New York earlier this spring. They brought in a bunch of different Jewish thinkers and organizational leaders to think about the Jewish future up to 2050. It's the only other time I've sort of been in a space where people are thinking that way. And something that came up, we did this, it was done as sort of a game was sort of the format. Dara Horn, who's a friend of the show we've had on, she wrote these scenarios, and basically in teams, we would try to say, okay, what needs to happen to reach this outcome? And something that came up, at least in my groups, that was sort of vital in every instance to getting to an outcome we wanted to was reliance on AI. AI kept playing a major role in helping sort of right some of the wrongs in the working knowledge of Jews that the world currently has. And it seems like AI is like crucial to helping disseminate actual information and truth. Has that yet been a part of your conversations?
I sat with a lot of people inside the Jewish world and outside the Jewish world who are grappling with how to best utilize AI. And so I feel like I've gotten a real education over the last 8 months about it. And you are 200% right. We have two ways we can look at everything, whether it's a challenge or an opportunity, right? Social media, challenge or opportunity. AI, challenge or opportunity. My position is, as someone who spent most of my life in media, these are opportunities. We have to embrace them. We have to figure out how to do it. It's very hard for the Jewish community to grapple with any kind of new media because we still have in the back of our mind, we're the people of the book. You have libraries. We have tens of thousands of books here at American Jewish University and over 100,000. And people are accessing content digitally now. But there's still a disconnect between the old way of thinking. It's the same thing around synagogues. Services haven't evolved, right? We did it this way. We created these institutions. We have been really, frankly, unwilling to change as a Jewish world. We stick to what we've been doing even when it fails. AI is an opportunity that we have to embrace. And it's going to be a central facet of how we look at things here at American Jewish University. Because if we don't, we're again, like I said earlier, I believe if we had understood what was in front of us before, the challenges we're facing around Israel that you are so articulate. I'm so proud of you. I always say that to people.
Oh,
I'm proud of
thanks,
Jonah.
Jay.
I've seen his growth and his immersion as an important Jewish voice and leader. But you're doing it, again, with technology, right?
Yep.
And what we have to do is we have to bring the Sam Altmans of the world to the Jewish table. We have to bring all those individuals and say, okay, how do we harness this as opposed to seeing it as something that's hurting us?
So in terms of what you just said and the 2050 of it all, have you started to float the idea to some of these major players who don't usually come to the Jewish table?
But the genesis of this idea came from the original idea of the Aspen Institute, which is not what it is today, which is if you can identify the best and brightest in all these fields and bring them together to have conversations about the world, you could solve climate change. So I've been talking to major people. If it's the right table and if they see people that they respect, that they want to learn from, then they're coming. And so I've gotten a lot of people saying, we're in, just want to know a little bit more. And then the 2050 project got a little waylaid because I came into an institution, honestly, American Jewish University, that its reputation hasn't been as strong as some of its programs are. It has gone through some controversies, and I've had to address that. It's alienated some people in some of its decision making, and I'm turning all that around, bringing it back into the community, and the 2050 Institute and those conversations were put aside. I'm right now writing a new strategic plan for all of AJU and beginning to reemerge those conversations, resurface them around getting those folks to the table as quickly as possible to begin that process as well.
Is there a direction, a pillar of this Jewish future of AJU that AJU isn't yet doing that's going to be, in your mind, it's like, this is really missing and we need to start doing this thing?
Well, we're not doing everything that I said we're doing. We're headed in that direction. So as an example, we're going to launch what I would be calling the new school for Jewish professional leadership. There are schools and Jewish schools that give master's degrees to Jewish professionals. They don't, by the way, have any courses on AI or technology or social entrepreneurship or all the tools necessary to be a strong Jewish professional. They're also not teaching, individuals who are in the fight right now how to address the fight in a proactive way. Right? It's not just about fighting anti-Semitism. It's about building those bridges back that we as a Jewish community let fall.
I do want to give one shout out. So I'm studying for my master's at Gratz College, which is completely online. And they're the first to have an anti-Semitism studies program that you can get. And they are trying to tackle some of that stuff. So it's starting. So it's not non-existent, but you're right in that. I mean, it's literally, they're the only one.
Our dream here, we're going to have the next generation of rabbis, Jewish educators, and Jewish professionals together. We are going to create a different kind of a learning. It's going to be 70% online and 30% at the Brandeis campus so that everybody is together in an intensive environment. It's not like going to class and going home. You're going to be living together for a couple of weeks at a time. The future Jewish leadership is going to come from American Jewish University. I'm not saying anything negative about any other institution, but what we have and what we can do is different than what anyone else can do.
No doubt. I love that. It's really exciting. So you say that you're a disruptor in the way that you sort of approach your role organizationally. What about as a leader? How would you describe your leadership style?
Well, first of all, my leadership continues to evolve because I'm older now, right? When I went into the Jewish Federation 15 years ago, it had a lot of challenges and a lot of issues, and the structure was off. There was a lot of things off, and I went in, younger and feeling like I had to take the bull by the horns, and I charged in and made change there. As I've gotten older as a leader, I understand that transformation and change are different processes. Change is, you're going out with friends and you look in the mirror to what you're wearing and you change your outfit because you want to look good. Transformation is not just what I look like, but how am I presenting my inside to another person? So I am only going to be here for a set period of time. I'm not going to be here forever. I believe that Jewish leaders do stay in their jobs a little too long, and that has all kinds of implications. That's why I consciously left the Federation leadership after 12 years. That was a decision I made the day I took the job. And here, I'm not going to even be here 12 years probably, right? So what can I get done quickly, but also in a transformation process? So I'm looking at everything from a different lens, which is what are the assets? I know the things that need to be fixed. I know the things we need to do differently. But let's build on the assets. You said it. Introduction to Judaism. The biggest challenge with that course right now is people in the Jewish world have forgotten it exists. I need to remind them of that and then build it out. So how do you take the best things that are happening at AJU and build them out? Like I said, we have a successful early childhood education program called the Major School. And it provides master's degrees and EDDs to early childhood educators all across the Jewish world. Then we're going to add middle school teachers and high school teachers. And so taking the bones of what's here and making it work as opposed to remaking everything. My leadership style now is a little more patient and a little more, let's not focus on what needs to be fixed as much as let's focus on what we can build from what we have.
Jay, before I let you go, I know a lot of people listening to this conversation are going to be inspired by the work you're doing and the way you're approaching it. What sort of do you want to leave listeners with as they look to make their own impacts in their own way, in their own sort of spheres of influence?
Leadership in the Jewish world is definitely a challenge. I think that people who feel like they want to make a difference they have to go into uncomfortable spaces, right? Uncomfortable spaces are often sitting around a boardroom with people 30, 40 years older than you.
Right.
The minute you enter into those spaces, because as much as I think the Jewish institutional world needs to be blown up and started over, we're not going to do that, right? So
Right.
how do we transform existing institutions? So if you belong to a synagogue, get on the board, and getting on the board doesn't mean sitting on the side and not saying anything, right? So easy for young people and for new voices to feel like they have to sit there for a while. No, the future of the Jewish community is you, Jonah. It's not me, right? It's Joey, your son. It's not me. So younger people, people with new ideas and big ideas, need to put themselves in uncomfortable situations, which is often around a board of an organization they may or may not think is good, use their voice, and walk the walk as well as talk the talk. We are in a moment right now where we don't have the best, as I said about 2050. We need new voices at new tables, having new conversations, all focused on the future. We have enough people worrying about post-October 7th Israel. We have enough people worrying about anti-Semitism. We have a lot of those people who say, October 6th, I wasn't Jewish, October 7th, I am. We need to take those October 7th Jews and make them Jews for all the right reasons, not for they feel like they're a victim or they have to fight something. So I encourage people, and come here. I need leaders here. Get involved, roll up your sleeves, and make a difference. We don't have time.
So say somebody wants to get involved in AJU or follow what's going on or be informed about what's the future holds. What's the best way for them to do that?
Go to the top, j.sanderson@aju.edu. Just email me. It's going to take an army for me to do what I need to do. It's going to take an army for the Jewish world to do what it needs to do. Anyone who raises their hand, I'm responding to.
Hell yeah. All right, Jay, thank you so much for coming on. Love you and the work you're doing. Thank you for, putting your cleats back on, getting back in the game. We need you.
Thanks, Jonah. And thank you. As I said earlier, couldn't be prouder of you. Couldn't be prouder of this show and everything you're doing. You are a Jewish leader in the most powerful way. And I know your parents and the Jewish community is very proud.
Thank you, Jay. All right. He's a mensch. It's been 30 minutes. I'm Jonah Platt. Take it easy.